Okay, here we are. Some dumb guy. Black Friday attacks. Part 4. Part 1. Part 2. Part 3. And now we're moving in for the rest. And then the rest. And it's an ongoing saga. It will never end. Where those piles of stuff ends up. Nobody knows. But it's going to be an interesting journey. And the kitty has heard me talking. And here she comes. And we're going to grab her up real quick to say hello right off the beginning. There she is. Hey, hi, sugar. You heard me talking, huh? Yeah. I say hi. I wasn't talking to you. But I know you always think I am. So, you get to get your little cameo action. So, without further ado, let us dive into part 4 and see what kind of mischief we can get ourselves into. We're just going to knock it out of the park here. I won't have any couch space left, I think, when this is all said and done. Okay, starting out with a Blu-ray. I'm not sure if I've seen this one. I had one of those in the last episode. I want to say I have, but I'm not entirely sure. We're just going to throw it on out here. This is Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. And I don't know why, but I opted to go, probably for price, with the Blu-ray instead of the upcoming 4K. And I can't remember if that's put out by Kino Lorber or Shout Factory, or if that's a studio release, but I know it's on pre-order right now. Some people were complaining that the image of pseudo Bruce here has been reversed on the 4K. I don't know how much that matters, but it's been an object of concern, and that's okay. This one here, I can't read any of that. Yeah, I've picked up a few Bruce Lee titles in the recent past, and I thought it might be interesting to watch this. Although it's also kind of funny that now that I'm holding it in my hand, I typically tend to avoid biopics overall. Biopics are, although they can be great movies, they are wildly historically inaccurate, and I've kind of come to object to them on general principle. So why that one slipped under the radar for me and I went ahead and pulled the trigger, I don't know. Stuff happens, right? Next up, a movie I have not seen since I was a child. I remember it being on either TV or cable quite a lot when it was new. It was a cute movie back then. And I thought, again, for the sale, for the price, why not take the opportunity to revisit it? On Blu-ray, we have Harry and the Hendersons. Oh, starring John Lithgow. And this was fun. The resulting TV series that was based on it is, I guess, kind of a sequel. Not so much. Didn't like that one at all. But this one I enjoyed as a kid. Hopefully I will enjoy it as an adult. Moving right along. It's not a bad pace at all here, as long as I don't have too much to say. Blu-ray from a theatrical release that came earlier this year with slipcover. Film that I did see in the theater and had a significant amount of fun with. This is kind of a cool looking slipcover. It's very matte with some embossed lettering. Children can be such monsters. It is the Blu-ray of Abigail, the story of the child ballerina vampire who has dinner brought to her. She likes to play with her food. This one was a blast. The ending was way over the top, but you know what? Sometimes that's okay. That is okay. Sometimes a fun vampire movie such as this, or From Dusk Till Dawn, or the like, I don't know, just it's a nice change of pace from the horror aspect. Next up, Blind Buy Very popular film for its day. On Blu-ray here from 1988. Starring Glenn Close, John Malkovich, and Michelle Pfeiffer. We have Dangerous Liaisons. When this came out, and I was a young, dumb guy, so to speak, and I had only ever heard the title, never having seen it in print, I thought it was Dangerously Liaisons, which made no sense at all, but I don't think as that age of child I knew what a liaison was anyway, so the title made no sense to me either way whatsoever. But yeah, just heard great things, good reputation over the years, and it lingered, and with this cast, you really can't go wrong. So I figured, why the F not? And there it is, it's in the library. Next up, not a blind buy, but one that I did see once or twice as a youngin'. Again, more of a childhood revisiting from 1986, a classic comedy starring Steve Martin, Chevy Chase, Martin Short. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have Three Amigos. Ha-ha. And there they are. Oh, Trace Friends. They are not just famous, they are infamous. Yes, infamous. Hey, kitty, kitty. Okay. Next up, blind buy. It's almost like I'd kind of gone through these, had I gone through them deliberately before presenting them and organized them and alternated blind buys and non-blind buys. That would have been funny. This movie, I know nothing about other than the cover. I have encountered it on Groove, which all these are the second half of my last unboxing, which is all this, which was from Groove, from the same purchase. Anyway, I've encountered this one on the website repeatedly. Am I blurry? In the time that I've been shopping with them, and that is probably about 2.5 years and running now. It goes on sale. I add it to my cart. It sits there. I make a purchase. I pull it off because, hey kitty, it is seemingly one of those dumb apocalyptic type films like 2012, which is floating around up here, which I recently featured on an episode of SumDumBuys-Black, is one of my newest guilty pleasure films. But some of these are really, really bad, and some were fun. But I'm never able to get myself to fully commit, because I want more of the fun ones than the dumb ones, but I don't know what category this is going to fall under. We got a couple of Gerard Butler and Ed Harris and Andy Garcia's in this one, so you've got at least a variety of solid cast. But Gerard Butler was also in that movie a couple years back called Greenland, which was a similarly themed environmental apocalypse film that's not so hot. But, this one here is Geostorm. And, you look at that slipcover, you look at that artwork, and you're like, huh. Don't even look like modern day buildings that are being toppled by this ginormous tsunami wave. Whatever is causing it, I don't know. But is it an Armageddon? Is it a Deep Impact? Is it a 2012? Is it a Day After Tomorrow? Is it a Greenland? Is it a San Andreas? Is it an earthquake? I guess we shall find out. It is good. It will be good. It may not be good. I hope it's good. Okay, non-blind buy time. Another one from early this year in a theatrical release that I got to see. A 4K this time with slipcover. One of my glorious cinematic experiments in Asian cinema again. Well, while I go to Groove to blind buy like Chinese, Korean, of the like Asian cinema on disc, I often find myself going in for blind viewings in the theater for Indian films. And this was one of those instances, but we have the 4K of Monkey Man. Is that damage on my slipcover? Can't tell if that's damage or if that's part of the design. And I don't feel any change in the texture around these little dots, so I'm guessing that's natural. But yeah, this didn't quite pan out story-wise the way I was expecting from the trailer, but that's okay. It was a pretty good, compelling story on its own without yielding to my expectations, and I enjoyed it. Great movie, great price. Happy to have it in the library. Blind Buy. I just swear, these things almost are perfectly alternated. I'll take a look at that here when we're all done. That's funny. Blu-ray, no slipcover, from 1990. All-star cast including Tom Hanks, Bruce Willis, and Melanie Griffith. A Brian De Palma film. We have The Bonfire of the Vanities. I want to do a video at some point. It would be probably a brief one, but I experienced this phenomenon that I have termed title bias. And for me, what title bias is, prejudging of a film or prejudging of whether or not I want to be bothered watching a film based strictly on the title. The Bonfire of the Vanities fell into this category. Even knowing the cast, knowing that it could be good, liking the cast. This is a title that, I mean, you know, when did this come out? 1990. Okay, so I was what? 13 years old. Title turned me off. Never wanted to see it. I don't know why. I have this thing, and even as an adult, it still maintains, although it's usually for movies that had come out when I was younger. I don't like stupid titles. I think this is a stupid title. Dangerous Liaisons. Back then, to me, was a stupid title. Now I understand it, but back then, it was a stupid title, and it just completely rejected it outright. And I said, this movie's got a great reputation, and I will now watch it because as an adult, I'm slowly pushing my way through that title bias and getting over it and checking out what's behind the words, right? Last but not least, we're coming in briefer this time around, so that's good. Not a blind buy, as it turns out. Action film on Blu-ray from 1995. I remember renting this from the video store back in the day. That's how I checked it out. Sylvester Stallone, personal favorite of mine. Antonio Banderas, right around his peak, and Julianne Moore in Ass Ends, or better known as Assassins. I had mixed feelings about this film when I saw it in 95 or 96, whenever it was that I actually rented it. I don't think I hated it, but I remember it having a distinct direct-to-video feel to it, and I believe it actually was. I don't recall this ever being in the theater, which is disappointing considering the caliber of the cast. But I was a big theatrical viewer back then, but if it came out in 95, there was kind of a brief window at that point until late 95 where I actually was not going to the theater very often. So it might have been a theatrical release and I missed it. So again, this was one that has popped up on Groove on sale a lot, and I've added it to my cart many, many times. And I have this thing on Groove where they'll have sales, and they have so many big voluminous sales at once that I go through them all and I just pile stuff into my cart. I have the same problem with Kino Lorber. And then I go into the cart and it's like, oh, you know, you freaking 30 titles or something, like a $500 order. And so I'm not pulling the trigger on that. That's just silly. So I start pulling, weeding it down to something more manageable, and then I check out. This one, along with Geostorm and a few others, have been regular victims of the non-priority yankings. But Black Friday, extra good pricing, extra big sales. A lot of my caution has been thrown out the window, I guess. And a lot of that stuff has now come in. That's it. This box is clear, as they say. So let's look at this. What we have here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, I count good. 9 titles. 10 for the previous. I think that looks like 9, and I think that's something like 14 or 15 that I did in episode number 1. But it's almost like that. You know, we got here. Dragon may or may not be blind buy. Harry and the Andersons, not blind buy. Abigail, not blind buy. Dangerous Liaisons, blind buy. Three Amigos, not blind buy. Geostorm, blind buy. Monkey Man, not blind buy. Bonfire of the Vanities, blind buy. Assassins, not blind buy. So it's almost a perfect alternating of blind buys and non-blind buys. Yeah. Stay. So, that's that. What you think? You own any of these? You like any of these? You dislike any of these? Planning on buying any of these? What were your Black Friday purchases this year? What did you indulge in? Did you go as completely batshit nutty crazy as I did? Or did you lesser level, greater level? Let me know. This box here, same size box that I just finished. I don't know what's in there. I don't know how many's in there. It's still sealed. It could be the same quantity. This might be broken up into 2 more parts once I open it for the next segment. We'll find out and see how that plays, right? So, what a wild ride. And thank you, all 3 of you, or 4, or however many actually watching, for joining me. Put some words down here. We like words. Comment below. Let me know what you got going on. Maybe say hi to the kitty. Oh, here she is. Oh, there she is. Oh, I grabbed her a little quickly. I think I startled her a little bit. Want to say goodnight to the people, Peanut? Huh? Me little sugars? Huh? Say goodnight. Say goodnight. Oh, she is. Oh, look at those pretty blue eyes. Look at that. Good girl. Anyway, thank you, everybody. Good night to you. And I will see you for part 5. Oh.